With the NBA draft now back to being a relevant topic and the main event approaching in October, I recently put out another mock draft, but for today's video, I wanted to do something a bit different. Mock drafts take into account the teams picking at each spot and aren't necessarily an accurate ranking of the prospects, so today, that's exactly what we'll be doing. In this video, I'm going to be going through my top 30 prospects in order, forming my current big board of talent for the 2020 NBA draft. This is based purely on how I currently believe they stack up against one another, and it doesn't necessarily have to do with the order I believe they'll be picked in. Before we start though, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel, as all support is very much appreciated. Now with that being said, let's begin. Starting with number 30 and working our way up to the top prospect on this big board, we have Grant Riller from Charleston. Riller is a 3-level scorer that has great burst and acceleration, and does a very good job of putting pressure on the rim. He's one of the best ball handlers in the draft, as well as has impressive production in the pick and roll, but defensively he definitely needs to improve. He's fringe first round talent because of his offensive upside, and would definitely be worth it if he improves defensively. Next up at number 29, we have Jahmi'us Ramsey from Texas Tech. Ramsey just turned 19 years old in June and is coming off of a very strong season of college basketball. He has a strong frame, soft touch around the basket, and the physical tools to become a productive two-way player. Right now, he's still pretty raw as an overall talent, but for a team willing to have patience with him, he could be a hidden gem. Up next at number 28, we have Desmond Bane from TCU. Bane is one of the best shooters in the draft, having made 44% of his threes last season, and what makes him someone teams near the end of the first round will love is that he's smart about how he goes about getting to his spots and moving without the ball. Next at number 27, we have Tre Jones from Duke. Jones is a high IQ point guard that can run an offense well and play smart basketball without making too many mistakes, and defensively, he's a terrific on-ball defender, but he does have some glaring weaknesses that limit his upside. He's an inconsistent shooter, he's not the greatest finisher at the basket, and he's a bit undersized. Up next at number 26, we have Xavier Tillman from Michigan State. Tillman's a highly skilled big man that has several characteristics of modern big men, including his excellent passing ability for someone of his size. He may lack the explosive athleticism wanted at the position, but he's a smart defender and has good touch around the basket. Next up at number 25, we have Nico Mannion from Arizona. Mannion came into the season as a highly touted prospect seen as potential lottery talent, but while his offensive game seems destined to translate to the NBA because he's a terrific shot creator and playmaker, he's a subpar athlete and struggles defensively. He's definitely first round talent, but unlikely to be taken in the lottery like many originally hoped. Up next at number 24, we have Paul Reed from DePaul. What makes Reed first-round talent in this draft is the fact that he possesses the defensive versatility NBA teams love nowadays. He has the size and strength to hold his own defending the paint, and the lateral quickness and agility to switch onto perimeter players. He's a bundle of energy on both ends of the floor, and his motor will be valued later in the first round. Up next at number 23, we have Theo Maledon from France. Maledon is one of the best international prospects in the draft and has probably had the most experience against quality competition of anyone. He's a very balanced point guard with good size and length, and defensively he'll be able to comfortably defend 3 positions. He needs to work on improving his efficiency and limiting his turnovers, but he's very solid talent for the end of the first round. Next up at number 22, we have Jalen Smith from Maryland. Smith has tons of talent offensively, being a big man capable of producing both inside and out with a reliable jumper and soft touch with either hand around the rim. The worry with him, though, is that he's a bit slow on defense, and big men that struggle to keep up with opponents in space tend to struggle in the NBA, but he is still a talented big man with a useful skill set. Up next at number 21, we have Patrick Williams from Florida State. Williams is an exciting defensive prospect that should become a very productive team defender in any system as a forward. He has terrific defensive IQ, he rotates well, he plays the passing lanes, and contests a lot of shots. Offensively, he's still a work in progress, but he has an average jumper at the moment, and he's got a high motor that he uses to crash the glass. Next up at number 20, we have Josh Green from Arizona. Green is one of the best perimeter defenders in the class and has the ability to defend multiple positions out on the wing because he has great size and he competes hard. Offensively, he's someone who is decent at a lot of things, but doesn't necessarily stand out in any one area, but he likely translates as a 3-and-D player in any rotation. Next up at number 19, we have Tyrell Terry from Stanford. Terry is a player that I'm probably a bit higher on than most, but his ability to make any shot from any distance, both off the dribble and off the catch, leads me to believe he'll transition very smoothly to the NBA game. He's a phenomenal shot creator, and even though he definitely needs to add weight to be able to handle NBA defense, he does work hard on that end of the floor. Next up at number 18, we have Isaiah Stewart from Washington. Stewart was a beast in his one season in college, averaging 17 points, 9 rebounds, and 2 blocks per game. His combination of strength and his off-the-charts motor make him a nightmare to stop in the paint, and defensively, he does a very good job as the last line of defense. I could see his name being taken in the lottery, but if not, he'll be right on the fringe. Up next at number 17, we have Kira Lewis from Alabama. Lewis's speed is lethal, and his ability to blow by defenders and finish well around the rim opens things up for everyone else around him. He's only an average shooter, but overall his playmaking ability is very promising. He will need to gain some weight, being only 165 pounds, but otherwise he could be a big-time playmaker. Up next at number 16, we have Cole Anthony from UNC. Anthony's season at North Carolina had a lot of ups and downs, featuring some injury struggles and inconsistencies in the games he did play, but despite all of that, his talent is definitely there at the point guard position. He has the it factor to take a game over, and his leadership is something any team will love. Next up at number 15, we have Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. Maxey admittedly had a bit of a down year in college compared to the expectations he entered the season with, but while many scouts have been discouraged by this, I still see the silver lining with him. He's a shifty, quick combo guard that can create his own offense at a high level despite not being able to convert as efficiently as he would have wanted this season, and defensively, he's actually a very good on-ball defender. Up next at number 14, we have RJ Hampton from the NBL. Hampton played this season in Australia just like LaMelo Ball, and in the games he played, he demonstrated that he is a quick, explosive athlete with knockdown shooting ability while finishing above the rim with ease. He can function both on and off the ball, and the experience of playing professionally should also help his game translate. Next up at number 13, we have Saddiq Bey from Villanova. Bey is one of the most well-rounded prospects in the class, and his drastic improvements shooting the ball this year saw him shoot up draft boards. Bey is 6'8", can defend multiple positions, he made 45% of his threes, and he's an improving shot creator off the dribble. He has all of the makings of an ideal wing player in the NBA, and could hear his name called as early as the lottery. Up next at number 12, we have Devin Vassell from Florida State. Vassell is yet another potential 3-and-D prospect that looks every bit like someone that would produce at a high level on the wing. He's a fantastic shooter of the ball, he has a 7-foot wingspan, and he even has a little bit more shot creation potential than normal 3-and-D players. Next at number 11, we have Precious Achiuwa from Memphis. In the era of small ball becoming more popular than ever, Achiuwa could develop into the perfect small ball center. He's a terrific rim protector, he has the defensive versatility to switch onto almost anyone and hold his own, and his explosiveness around the basket help him secure tons of rebounds. He's a pretty raw offensive talent, but he'll be very good in his role. Now, starting off the top 10 prospects on this big board, we have Aaron Nesmith from Vanderbilt. Nesmith, I believe, is the best shooter in the draft, as he made 50% of his threes this season on high volume. His movement both on and without the ball get him very good looks regularly, he can knock down shots from anywhere on the floor, and with him spotting up, he can help space the floor for any team. Next up at number 9, we have Tyrese Haliburton from Iowa State. Haliburton is the ideal floor general who can take control of an offense and initiate things without doing too much and limiting mistakes. He's a very good playmaker, and when he gets his shot off, he's usually pretty efficient. But he's not necessarily a dynamic shot creator for himself. He's a good two-way player with excellent vision out on the court and is surely lottery talent. Up next at number 8, we have Isaac Okoro from Auburn. Okoro's the best perimeter defender in the draft, and his strength, mobility, and IQ on that end will pester anyone he's matched up with. Offensively, he's got a serviceable jump shot, and he attacks the basket hard, and any team in need of perimeter defense will look his way. Next up at number 7, we have Deni Avdija from Israel. Avdija has a guard-like skill set handling the ball and creating plays in a power forward's body. He works well in the pick and roll as a ball handler, he has excellent court vision thanks in part to his height, and all around, he's a very talented player. He needs to improve as a shooter if he wants to maximize his potential, but overall, he's definitely one of the best available. Up next at number 6, we have Killian Hayes from France. Hayes is my personal favorite when it comes to the overseas talents in this draft because at just 19 years old, he's already shown off so many characteristics of a high-level NBA player, specifically with the way he handles the ball, attacks the basket, and creates space off the dribble to get his shot off. He's a very good player in transition, he has a reliable pull-up jumper, and he's smart enough to find the open man and make plays for those around him. Next up at number 5, we have James Wiseman. Wiseman is still a bit of a mystery at this point in time, and while I do think he has a ridiculously high ceiling, I am a bit worried about how low his floor could be. Wiseman barely played any college basketball because of a suspension that led to him dropping out, and while he has all of the physical tools to dominate, that doesn't always translate to NBA production. So while he is top 5, I personally am higher on a few other players. Up next at number 4, we have Onyeka Okongwu from USC. Okongwu is the best big man in the draft in my eyes because he's a strong, mobile center with elite shot blocking instincts, he's no pushover defending out on the perimeter, he rebounds well, and he finishes strong. He's everything you can want from a center in today's NBA, and he can definitely anchor a defense at a high level. Next up at number 3, we've got Obi Toppin from Dayton. Toppin exploded onto the scene this year with his play on the court, and his electrifying playstyle combined with the numerous different ways he can impact a game get him to the top 3 in my players available. He can be a lethal scorer inside and out, he has the ability to put the ball on the floor and attack off the dribble while also being a capable shooter from the perimeter as a power forward, and that will be a matchup nightmare for opposing defenses. Next up at number 2, we have Anthony Edwards from Georgia. Edwards is the number 1 on many big boards, and I can definitely see why, but I think it's neck and neck with the player at number 1, and it could honestly go either way. Edwards is probably the best scorer in the class with a deep scoring package and an advanced ability to get his shot off and make difficult shots. He had to do a lot of carrying at Georgia, so I wouldn't worry too much about his efficiency, and in the NBA, he translates to being a number 1 option if everything works out. And finally, the number 1 player in the 2020 NBA draft, I believe, is LaMelo Ball from the NBL. LaMelo has so many traits that you simply can't teach, as his court vision and passing ability is easily best in the draft. His handle is so crafty and smooth, he gets to the rim with ease, and he's a confident shooter from anywhere. Yes, he will need to improve on the defensive side of things, and yes, he will also need to play more under control, but he just turned 19 years old, and the upside is sky high with him. And with that being said, that's all I have for you today. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment down below who you want your team to draft this year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.